Hey, what you're about to watch, or rather listen to, is the first part of the limited series, The Interview. The Interview is a podcast X style interview with my friend from high school, Danny Chungafunk. Danny was many things from being a great leader to an amazing person. But perhaps my favorite thing was that he was ambitious. And I think throughout this project, we've seen so much of me pursuing my own goals and how I've done that, that I think it's only right before ending it that we see how someone else does it. So follow me and Danny as we discuss him graduating high school and moving off to college and his journey in journalism. Have fun. Hey, welcome to the first ever, I guess, interview for Project Phillips. So can you tell us a bit about yourself, Danny?
Yeah, so my name is Danny. I am a rising freshman at the University of Maryland, College Park. Obviously an alumni of Good Counsel High School with Dalu, and we were part of XBSS, Campus Ministry, and Falcon News Network, and that's kind of how we got to know each other.
I think for about 2 years.
Yeah, since I guess you kind of probably junior year really is when things
Yeah.
kind of took off with Campman, XBSS, FNN.
Okay. So with you being an alumni of Good Counsel, what do you think you're going to miss most about?
I think I'm gonna miss the people because I went into high school not really expecting a lot, um, and really having my expectations kind of crushed early on. But looking back on all the trials and high moments in life, I'm realizing that I made a whole lot of great connections of people that, you know, were kind and gracious to me, and people that, were always there to support me. And so it's obviously tough to start a new chapter when you kind of have to like start over, when you like are making friends from the beginning. So I'll definitely miss the people, both the my fellow students and the faculty. I had some great teachers and administrators at Good Counsel, so I'll definitely miss them. But I'm going to try my hardest to stay in touch with as many people as I can, even though it's probably easier said than done. But it truly meant a lot to me.
That's great to hear. I think I'm in the same boat where I know I personally have bad tendencies when it comes to like long distance relationships, but I'm gonna try and keep contact with those people. But and talk about relationships and keeping them strong. I was wondering, how do you plan to stay connected with those friends and teachers?
Well, I don't know. I guess you'll come play this back 2 years from now, and I'll be like, I'll have done none of this. But obviously, texting is a great way. I mean, I've got lots of contact information for the people that I'll probably talk to the most. I will be actually with a good amount of my classmates
Because of UMD,
at
right?
College Park.
Mhm.
Right. So I'll be able to, see people in person, um, if we want to coordinate something like that. And the teachers, it's obviously a little harder because, they're at only and I'm in College Park. So I think it might mean I have to make a few visits, which wouldn't be a bad thing. It's something I'd actually enjoy, making a couple visits back to catch up with teachers.
Mhm.
How are you? Because you're going to Pitt. How are you kind of going to plan to stay in touch?
I said earlier, like, I have bad tendencies when it comes to just keeping in contact with people. Like before I came to America, so I was born and raised here, then moved to Nigeria. After I left Nigeria, I left around sixth grade, and I barely kept contact with any of my friends because I just didn't know how to like. Since you're not in the same school or building, it's hard to say, "Oh, what do you want to talk about?" I guess so. But now I'm moving off to college. I think there's just more room. So the occasional hi, what's up, or with Instagram nowadays, I can just say, "Oh, I like your post," or respond to their stories. So that's what I'm hoping to do. But yeah.
I didn't realize you had the transition from America to Africa and back to America.
Mhm.
That's really cool. I guess you probably have more insight than me on like what it's like to transition, from a place that's like miles and miles on a completely different continent
Mhm.
to, and so obviously I guess from Maryland to Pitt may not be as far as Nigeria to Maryland.
But I don't know. Because I know I did do the best when it came to that. So hopefully with this new transition, um, I might do better. But I do think there's a difference when it comes to going from like your K-11 years, so like from middle school to high school, and then from high school to college. Because I feel like um, those are distinct, right? Because I think there's more freedom. I don't know how to explain it best, but I think you're growing up as a person and you have more liberties, and with that, you have more reasons to contact people, I guess. But on the note of going off to college, I was really wondering, how does it feel to have graduated from high school?
Uh, I've gotten this question a lot from a lot of different
I bet you have.
family members and pretty
Mm.
yeah everybody that's like asked me how does it feel to be graduated from high school. I mean, I know this you probably want a great answer, but honestly, for being honest, it just feels the same. And I think it's because you for me it takes a while for things to like actually become real.
Mhm.
So like once I probably start college, I'll be like, oh, I'm not in high school anymore. Like, what happened? Oh, wait, you graduated from high school. Like, how did that happen? I thought we were just, in the pandemic doing school from home in eighth grade and ninth grade. And you're
It,
telling me that's happened and now I'm through and graduated high school and in college.
mhm,
So it's like, how did that happen? So, I think it will hit me in a few months,
mhm.
but obviously it's a tremendous accomplishment. I mean, I don't want to be the 15th person to do the cliche of how obviously how when we started, you know, the future was a little uncertain because of the pandemic and
Mhm.
how we were able to persevere. Um, I think it may not mean a lot to me now. I think not just once I start college, but probably like 20, 30 years from now, I'll look back and be like, hey, I started high school in a pandemic when nobody knew what we were doing. We'd never done something like this before. And so I think I can use it as hopefully the goal would be to use it as some type of encouragement, motivation, not just for, others, but for myself to be like, hey, I did that. I made it through uncertain times.
Mhm.
I don't like uncertainty, but I made it through uncertain times. And so whatever this situation X is, I can overcome it because I've got this prior experience. You know what I'm saying?
No, that does make sense. Actually, to your point about in 20, 30 years using I in school in such an uncertain time, I actually never thought about it like that. I never think I ever put too much thought into like my experience in the pandemic and how crazy it is in hindsight. Because like back when the pandemic was going to be over, we didn't know if we're going to do hybrid or we're going to do fully virtual. It's like now looking crazy and see how far we've come.
Yeah,
It's
one of my teachers in middle school said, suggestion. I kind of wish I took her up on her offer to journal about what it was like when we were especially during like the spring
mhm.
2020 when we were first started. I kind of wish I took her up on that offer, or not the offer, but on that opportunity to journal to reflect on it. Actually, but funny enough, I not that long ago I found a project I did a while back. It was for I don't even know what class it was. It's one of those like it's supposed to be a theater class that got turned into obviously a hybrid format because of the pandemic,
Mhm.
where I had a message to the future you,
Oh,
and
I'm
I was just talking about how what's that?
no, I was saying it's like similar to a time capsule.
It is similar to a time capsule. Yeah, I didn't realize it was gonna be like a time capsule, even though it was only 4 years ago. 4 years probably feels like 40. But I
Mhm.
was talking about how my day to day was, and it's just intriguing to be like, I think to kind of go back to the question you said, how does it feel to graduate from high school? It's kind of like I did that. It
Mhm.
was me. I did that. This was me 4 years ago doing school from home. This the same person, and I made it through both of those things. So it feels doesn't feel real, but yet it's something that we've accomplished. And I
It's
think
true.
we should be proud of it.
We should definitely. So, going back to the project you said, the time capsule. I am curious. How do you think you've changed in those 4 years?
Well, I think I've changed over the 4 years because I have grown a lot in gratitude. I think
Mhm.
doing the some activities that some of the classes that graduated before us couldn't do, and both in school, outside of school, just being around people who are kind, caring, supportive. And I think, especially coming from an experience where we did not have any interaction with people at all. And
Hmm.
so I think I walked out of there over the last 2 years with a whole lot of gratitude and appreciation for people and what they truly mean to a person. Texting and stuff like we talked about, you know,
Hmm.
it's great, especially for people who, for longer distance relationships, but
Hmm.
nothing will beat face to face interaction.
Definitely.
I thought, maybe we could live in a virtual world in our VR headsets, and that would be
Hmm.
an in person hug, but nothing will beat in person interactions. And so I've definitely walked away with a whole lot of gratitude and appreciation for people and what they do to you,
Hmm.
the good things that they do to you. Especially since we're going to new environments where we'll have lots of different people that we are not familiar with. And so it will, we'll start over. Who do we would like to be friends with? Who maybe should we avoid? But knowing not to judge people based on what we assume, because really, again, I'm struggling with this too sometimes. People are, you never know what,
Hmm.
might be your good friend. You just and the only way you know is if you let your guard down a little bit and be willing to understand them.
Hmm. And I think that's so, at least in my case, I know it's important because have you been scrolling through the on Instagram the Meet Your Classmates page?
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, so now I like I feel bad. I'm gonna be vulnerable, I guess, because what I do, like, I see their pictures and I adjust them too quickly. I might feel like, oh, maybe like, because they'll post a picture where it's like something I think might be corny or just weird. And I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be friends with someone with that person. Then I see another person who posts something I think is cool. I'm like, oh, maybe I should be friends with that person. So I think going with you, I have to kind of dig out that junior retreat from the memory bank and like not be so quick to judge people just on what I'm seeing, and like try and actually be more open to interacting with everyone, at least, and that like actually trying to connect with them first.
I think it's a small sample size
Hmm.
of the people that we will meet again. If what I said is true, that nothing will beat in person relationships, then,
Hmm.
your best friend from college may not be on an Instagram portal, but be
That's
somebody
true.
that you meet in activities that hopefully activities, classes, or something that have some sort of relevance, interest, importance to you. And I think those relationships will go a lot further than just, you know, it's a picture that you liked or a picture that you didn't